Hi, it's Chrissy again, and today I have for y'all my May wrap-up. And it has been an eventful May. I graduated from law school, and then I had about like a week off, and I started working, and there were 3 different read-a-thons, and this last week I went to New York to BookCon, and so yeah. Oh, and I read 11 books, 2 novellas, and started another book. That just happened. It's okay. The book is okay. And yes, City of Heavenly Fire. So let's try this again. To start off, the 2 novellas I read were The Prince and The Guard by Cress, which are the 2 novellas that go along with the Selection series. And I gave them both 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked them. I loved hearing from the boys' perspectives, and you got some really good information from them that made things in the books mean different things because you knew it. Anyways, I liked it. My one complaint was the voices. Like, the perspective was male, and you could tell that and everything, but it was just, the voice was a little feminine. It was just a little too romantic even in their heads. They are guys, and they're 19-year-old guys, and I didn't necessarily buy that as much, but I still loved it, and it still felt like their perspective. I don't know. Read it, you'll see what I mean. I still recommend them. They're really good, and I love the Selection series. So the first book I read this month was Sea of Shadows by Kelly Armstrong. Yeah, Kelly Armstrong. I really like this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I kind of want to go back and change it to 5 out of 5 stars. This is one of those books that the more and more I think about it, the more I realize how much I loved it. And I cannot wait until the next book in the series. It's really good. It is about 2 twin girls that are the keeper and the seeker. It's a fantasy book, so this is going to be really probably not that great of a synopsis. But the keeper and the seeker, and they have the Forest of the Dead, which is where all like convicts, all bad criminals are banished to the Forest of the Dead, and nothing can live in the Forest of the Dead, or so they say. Anyways, so Forest of the Dead, they've put all the criminals there, and the Seeker's job is to go out into the forest and put the souls of all the criminals to rest, because no one lives. And they do manage to live 1 year. I think it's a year. Maybe not even a year. Months. Something like that. A period of time in the Forest of the Dead. They are forgiven for all their crimes and set free. But no one ever survives. Ever. And so the Seeker has to put their souls to rest. And the Keeper can like banish the souls and protect everyone if the souls were to get angry. Yes. And they both have like they have animals. The Keeper has the wildcat, and the Seeker has the hunting hound, and I love them, and I love both the girls, and I love both the boys, and probably my favorite thing about this book was the characters are so different, the 2 sisters were so different, and I swear, it gave you an opportunity to identify with one sister, and then, like, wish you were more like the other. Like, one of the sisters is a total badass, like, total kick-ass character, go fighter. And you have those everywhere in so many young adult books nowadays, and you love them. I love them. I love all of those characters. I do. I want to be more like them, but I'm not. I wouldn't be like that. I'm not saying I would be a pushover, and the other sister isn't a pushover either. She, in my mind, fights more like I would fight, and I loved being able to identify with a character that way, like that I could survive in this world too, even though I'm not the kick-ass character. And then you could also identify with her wishing she was more like her sister, and it was nice. And it was nice to read from that sister's point of view, saying how much she wishes she was more like the calmer sister. It was just a really good book, and I loved both of the guys, and I can't wait till the next book in this series. It fell again. For fear of injuring this beautiful book, I'm not going to put it back up. There you go. That's pretty too. Anyways, the second book I read this month was The One by Cress. And personally, I know there's a lot of complaints out there about this book and about this series. I love this series. It's not the Hunger Games. It's not, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it. This is a dystopian book, but it is not really about the dystopian world. It is about the romance, and yes, it is some silly, stupid romance sometimes, like want to hit them over the head romance, but they're 17-year-old girl to 19-year-old boys. I expect that from that age, and sorry if you're 17 and 19, I'm not saying anything. I expect it from 23-year-olds, to be perfectly honest. Reading new adult books, we're all like that. But that's the point. I expect it from them. And so, it didn't bother me. Well, it bothered me when I'm reading, they're like, oh my god, you're idiots. But you want it. I liked it. And a lot of people hate America, the main character, not the country. And I love her. I loved everything she did. I loved everything she did in the dystopian world. Like, I loved how she interacted in the dystopian elements. I thought she was stupid in the romance department because she's a 17-year-old girl talking about love and marriage. Duh. Anyways, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I love the book. Honestly, I'm not sure what I gave it on Goodreads because romance-wise, like what the story is actually about, was a 5. But the dystopian world, I have a very hard time giving it a rating because I felt it was unfinished, but I felt like it couldn't be finished and stay true to what the story was really about. So, I don't know. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Probably more of a 4.5, but I really, really liked it. I did. My opinion. I go into it more in one of my other videos. I think Bout of Books wrap up? Yeah, Bout of Books. Or read-a-thon. One of those two. Check it out. I'll leave the links below. The third book I read this month was The Taking by Kimberly Durtine. And this was also a really, really good book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I probably would have given it 5 out of 5 stars if I could have just sat down and read it in one sitting. It's a very fast-paced book. Really, really good. I cannot wait till the next book in the series. And it was really good. To give a brief synopsis, this girl has a fight with her dad and then like blinks and wakes up behind a gas and sip near her house and doesn't know what happened. Turns out, to everyone else, she's been missing for 5 years and she hasn't aged a day, and that's the premise. It's a good book. It really is. I do recommend it, and I can't wait till the next book in the series. Also, I got all 3 of these signed. I went to the Dark Days tour. It was fun. The next book I read in the month of May was Cress by Marissa Meyer, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I can't really give you much on this book because it's the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicle series. You have to go read Cinder and Scarlet to go do it now. I really enjoyed the series, and let's just say I was not expecting to enjoy this series. I was by the time I picked up Cinder, but whenever I heard the premise of this book, I was like, okay, cyborgs, like, no. And I was also not a huge fan of the idea of fairy tale retellings. And to be perfectly honest, the beginning of the first 2 books, and it was me. It wasn't the books. It's all me. I felt a little cartoony, but I think it was me and this whole mind block thing I had going on with fairy tale retellings. But I loved this book. And I didn't have the cartoony feel of it in this book. I actually kept thinking I really wish I knew more about the Rapunzel fairy tale because I felt like I was missing things. But that's besides the point. I really enjoyed this book, and it definitely had things that the other 2 didn't. The one problem I had with this book that I didn't have with the others was there were so many characters. There was almost too much going on in my mind. I kept switching back and forth, and I wanted to know more about what was going on here, but then it would be over here. And, I mean, I guess that's really a good problem to have. Too many good characters and good stories going on at one time. Such a problem. 5 out of 5 stars. The next 2 books I read were Altered by Jennifer Rush and Erased by Jennifer Rush. You want to talk about action-packed books. Yeah. These two books were really, really good. Basically, they are sci-fi, and I'm trying to think of a way I can tell you about these books without ruining anything. Okay. So, in Anna's basement is a lab where there are 4 boys. One of them is Sam, who she has a huge crush on. And basically these 4 boys have been altered to be better humans. Better, stronger, smarter, all of the above. They've been altered. And chaos ensues. I don't know. I don't want to give anything away. Let's just say they end up out of the lab and chaos ensues. And Anna finds out a little bit about herself that she didn't know before. And Erased was the sequel, so I can't really tell you much about it. They go really well together. This is definitely a good series to marathon. The 3rd book is coming out soonish, I think. Might be next year. This book just came out this year. But it is a good series to marathon. It's really fast paced and they go very well together. This book's not even in the frame. There we go. Hi. And I gave both of these, a 5 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read was Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. And this was my first Rainbow Rowell book, and it was really good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I was laughing, I was smiling, I really enjoyed it. There was nothing wrong with this book. Probably contemporary lovers out there will give it 5 out of 5. I don't read that many contemporaries. And as a personal thing, I really read books to experience different things, to get away from my life for a little bit, that kind of thing. And Link is kind of in the same place in life as I am. Not saying my life's anything like Link's, but we're in the same place. I don't know how else to explain that. And so I tend to not love those books. But there's nothing wrong with this book. It had me smiling and laughing. You get 4 out of 5 stars, and if you love contemporaries, you'll probably love this book. The last full 4 books I read this month were the 4 books out in the Lex series. And that is Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Onyx by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Opal by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and Origin by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And I gave each one of these books 5 out of 5 stars. They were really, really good. In the order of my favorites, Origin, Onyx, Opal, Obsidian. And I felt like the first and 3rd books were setting up for the 2nd and 4th books so that those ones could happen. And I loved them all. They were all great. As a premise of this book, hot alien next door. That's really all that needs to be said about that. And then, at the end of the month, I started reading City of Heavenly Fire. No spoilers. I am not done yet. Do not spoil me. You. Don't do it. I'm really loving this book. I am currently on page 473. And it's awesome. I'm loving it. And personally, I feel like all of the teasers we were given are misleading and confusing. Because I'm like, what do you mean by named characters? I don't understand. And what do you mean by die? That's a good question too. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. No spoilers. But that is all of the books I read this month, and I will be back with you soon with a bunch of book hauls. Probably a very, very iffy TBR. We'll see. Be back soon.